Hey everyone, it's Zeke. If you're looking for a way on how to get started with Ethereum mining, then you're in the right place. I'm about to reveal some easy ways to find all the different parts you need to get started, along with the setup process and how to figure out how long it'll take to break even on your initial setup cost. If you're brand new to mining and don't know what the best graphics cards are, how big of power supply you'll need, or even why you should consider buying a mining rig, then stay tuned because if you stick along to the end of the video, you'll know everything you need to start mining Ethereum. I understand that getting into mining can be very stressful and risky, but don't worry because today I'm going to share with you how to mine Ethereum and make money in 2021. The 7 different topics I'll be going over in this video is what is crypto mining, why is crypto mining so popular and worth it, what you need to start mining, how to set up to start mining, overclocking and tuning, profitability and electricity costs, and then my final thoughts on everything. So number 1 is what is crypto mining? So basically it's the process of solving complex math problems with computers to validate crypto transactions, and everything is posted to a public database called a blockchain. The whole crypto system is decentralized and not operated by any organization or people, or basically an authority, and it's the miners that run algorithms on the computers to validate all the transactions and then post them to an online database, or also known as a ledger, and anyone can see them. The normal banking system centralizes all the transactions around the bank, meaning all these transactions have to go through them first and then they have their own database. Basically, cryptocurrencies remove the need for a middleman, and this is possible because the powerful computing power from crypto miners is able to validate everything and secure everything. The second topic is why is crypto mining so popular and worth it? Basically, when transactions are validated, the miners are rewarded a small amount of crypto for their work, and if you have enough power, then it can be a good way to make some money. I think that investing into mining is a good idea because you can basically buy all the parts, start mining, and make back all the money you spent in less than a year. That's 100% return in less than a year, or a year, depending on how much you spend and how much you'll be making. But in general, you can make back your money in a short amount of time compared to normal investments. Now, it all depends on the price of crypto, because if the market crashes, then you'll lose all your money. You won't be making much money anymore. But if the market goes up, then you'll be making even more money, and the money you've already made will be worth more. So mining is popular right now because of how much money you can make, and if you look at graphics card prices, it basically speaks for itself. They're dependent on the price of crypto. So since crypto has gone up so much this year, graphics cards have as well, and since there's a short supply of them because of the chip shortage, the price just goes up even more. And the reason why it's so worth it is because you can make a lot of money out of it. Now, the third topic is what you're going to need to start mining. I'm just going to generalize everything and make it simple because there's lots of tutorials online of like an hour long of just how to put all the parts together, how to select different parts and make sure everything is safe. But yeah, the different parts you're going to need is everything you need for like a normal gaming PC. So you're going to need a graphics card, a power supply, motherboard, the cables, CPU, RAM, case, and then fans. But on a mining rig, you're going to need multiple graphics cards, all the different cables to power all the graphics cards, GPU risers, and then maybe a couple splitters. And then you're also going to need a mining specific frame to hold all the graphics cards. You can get like server cases, but what most people recommend is open air cases that are mining specific. These just help keep all the cards cool because you're not enclosing everything in like a case. And you can build your own with all the like different hard parts from a basic hardware store. And there's lots of different guides online of how to build one. It can be cheaper because most of the pre-built frames are just overpriced since mining is so popular right now. So it's up to you how much you want to spend or if you even want to build your own. I just went for a pre-built one. I found one for a good price. So yeah, it's up to you. Whatever you want to do works. And as for the power supply, you're going to need one that's over 1,000 watts depending on your situation. And for choosing a power supply, you basically find like how much power all your cards are going to be taking and then add them all up and then just figure out how much the motherboard and all the fans will take. And then you want to be taking that amount of power. You want that to be like 60%, 60 to 80% of the maximum of a power supply can take. So say you're taking a 1600 watt power supply, 60% of that is only 960 watts. So if you can build up a rig that's only taking 960 watts, then your power supply is going to be running more efficiently and there's not a risk of it burning out or anything. Now, the power supply is very important because it basically powers everything, and if that fails, then you could have lots of issues. So I'd recommend just watching a specific video on how to power your rig, and I'll link a video down below that's really helpful because you don't want to get this wrong. You want to make sure everything's good to go. And as for the GPU risers, basically what they are is they take a PCI Express X1 slot from your motherboard, which is usually a couple of these on every motherboard if you're getting an ATX one, and it converts this X1 slot to a PCI Express X16 slot, which is where graphics cards actually fit in, and then it connects that signal via a USB 3 port, and then you can power it with SATA, Molex, or PCI Express. Most people don't recommend SATA. They recommend actually powering with a PCI Express cable, which is what you power a graphics card with. But like I said, watch the video in the description on how to power your rig safely, because that'll give you a lot of good information. And then some other considerations are 8-pin splitters. They basically take the PCI Express cable and split it into multiple connections. So if you're running out of cables and you need extra ones, then you can basically split them to get more connectivity, and you can power more graphics cards with the same amount of power supply, assuming that the power supply can actually handle all those graphics cards. And then you're going to want some fans to cool everything down, because the cooler the temperature of your cards, the more efficiently they run and the longer they'll last. And you don't need any RGB crazy fans. You just need something that works and keeps the temperature down. But if you are trying to be pretty swaggy, then you could go for a full RGB build. But just know that looks do not matter on a mining rig. As long as it's making money, you're good. And if you look at the description, I'll have a list of all the different parts you need and different considerations that take into account. And also, if you're going to be using multiple power supplies to power your build, you want to have like a specific cable to connect those 2 power supplies onto your motherboard. A lot of people like to go with 2 power supplies instead of 1 big one because it could be cheaper. But yeah, it depends on your situation. All right, so once you have all the parts together, which is probably one of the most hardest steps in the process of getting started with mining, because it takes a lot of effort to actually get graphics cards for good prices right now. Short supply, you know, overpriced. People are reselling them for way more than they should be. But yeah, once you have all your parts together, it's now time to build the rig, which just involves putting all the parts together, making sure all the cables are connected properly and whatnot. And I seriously recommend you watching these like hour-long videos on how to build a mining rig, because they just go into a lot of detail of how to put everything together properly. And now there's 2 options for actually getting your rig set up. You can go with Windows or Hive OS or Linux operating system. So I'm going to go through Windows first, because it's probably the easiest way to do it, even though it's not the best way to do it. I strongly recommend Linux because it's just a lot easier to manage your rig once it's running. Windows is, you know, like, I'm pretty sure everyone's familiar with Windows. They know how to use it and whatnot, but there's a lot of disadvantages to it when you're mining. One of which is that Linux is more optimized for your graphics cards. You can get more hash rate out of it, and you can access like a dashboard, a control panel from your phone and other computers with a Linux operating system. And the main one is Hive OS, and it's by far the best thing you can add to your mining rig. I use it a lot, and I can access my whole rig with my phone at any time, reboot the system, check temperatures, check my hash rate and whatnot. But if you want to go with Windows, I'll explain how to do it. So the first thing you have to do is go onto another computer and flash the Windows operating system onto it. There's like a media creation tool that you download and just run it, and then it should install onto a USB stick. And then once you have that USB stick, you just plug it into your mining rig and boot up your computer and boot up onto that USB stick. And then you should be given an installation process. You just go through all that. And then once you're on Windows, you have to download the NVIDIA or AMD drivers depending on your GPUs. And then once you have that installed, you might as well reboot your computer just to make sure it's installed properly. And then you have to download a mining software. Now, there's a bunch of them out there. I use T-Rex Miner, but it doesn't really matter what you use. They're all pretty good. So you could use T-Rex, NB Miner, Lol Miner. Those are just 3 examples for you. And once you have your mining software installed, you're going to need to get an Ethereum wallet. And if you don't have one of these, you don't need any age verification to install a wallet, only for buying and selling crypto. But anyone can get a wallet, doesn't really matter how old you are. So you can get Coinbase, you can get a Ledger, Nano X or S, you can get Binance is a good one. There's a lot of great ones out there. Doesn't really matter which one you use. As long as you get an Ethereum address, you can put it into the mining software and you should be good to go. And then you're gonna want to get a mining pool, because mining in a pool is basically mining with other miners to solve blocks of transactions together. And this just increases the rewards, because you're just with other people. It's more likely for you all to find a block to mine, compared if you're just mining by yourself. And it also gives you like a really good dashboard you can access. So you can check your stats, your earnings and whatnot. And I recommend ethermine.org. This is what I use for my rig, and it's really helpful. Now, if you don't want to go with Windows, you can go with a Linux operating system called Hive OS. And if you want to get started with this, basically you just have to flash Hive OS onto a USB stick or SSD. Flashing onto an SSD requires like a cable you have to plug into a USB port, because flashing onto an SSD that's connected through SATA normally is a little more difficult, and it won't always work that well, because I tried this on my computer and it didn't really work that well. But if you don't want to buy the cable, you can also transfer the operating system from the USB stick to the SSD pretty easily. I did this, and there's a link in the description of how to do this. It's pretty simple. Now, once you have Hive OS booted and install it onto your SSD or USB stick, you'll need to create an account with Hive OS, and then you have to create a farm or worker so you can connect your mining rig to the website. And this process is pretty simple. You just need to type in the username and password from the website to your computer so it has access to it. And then after that, you should be able to see your whole computer and graphics cards running. Now, after that, you just have to create your Ethereum wallet, create a flight sheet, and then start mining. But before you start mining, you want to do some overclocking first. So I'll get into that in the next topic. And just so you know, I have all these links in the description of how to do what I just said. So how to install HiveOS, how to install Windows and start mining. I just haven't made the videos myself, so I'm giving you guys all these videos that I've watched in the past, and they're really helpful. So check the description for that. Alright, so the fifth topic is overclocking and tuning. So if you want to increase the amount of crypto you mine, then overclocking is a good way to do it. There's a website called hashrate.no that shows you all these good settings for all the different graphics cards, and this should help you get some extra hash rate out of all your graphics cards. But overclocking can be harmful for your GPU if you don't do it properly, so you need to make sure your memory clock isn't too high, and you can tell if it is by looking for invalid shares. So what you can do is start at a high memory clock and then just slowly lower it down and reboot your system until there is no more invalid shares popping up, and making sure there's no invalid shares will increase the life of your card. And if you have LHR cards, you can also unlock them a bit to achieve a higher hash rate. This step is basically just to optimize your GPUs, and it can also be really beneficial for your cards because you can lower the actual power that your cards withdraw, and you can also lower the temperatures of your cards by a lot. So I strongly recommend this step. For example, like my cards would be running at like 70 degrees Celsius if I didn't overclock them properly, but right now they're in like the 50 degrees Celsius zone, so it's really helpful. The sixth topic is profitability and electricity costs. So this is the big one. Basically, the coin you mine and the cost of electricity in your area can affect the profitability of mining and your break-even point. So for example, if you bought LHR cards, some of them may have higher profits when you mine coins other than Ethereum, and some parts of the world have really cheap electricity while other places have really expensive electricity. So if you do want to mine Ethereum, make sure that the cards you're buying are actually more profitable to mine Ethereum and not more profitable than another coin like Flux. So I know like the 3060 Ti LHR, they're a bit more profitable to mine Flux, but I know the 3080 LHR, if you mine on Flux, then you're making less than you were if you're mining Ethereum. So do your research, use whattomine.com, it'll be in the description, and just make sure the cards you are buying are best for your Ethereum. And you can also calculate how much electricity will cost if you know how much electricity costs per kilowatt hour in your area. So I know like some places maybe 10 cents per kilowatt hour, some places maybe 20 cents per kilowatt hour, or maybe even 5 cents per kilowatt hour. Really depends on where you are, and you can calculate how much electricity will cost based on the cards you have. So say you have like a couple 3080s, you can just put them into a calculator, see if they're taking like, I don't know, 200, 300 watts, and then see how much electricity will cost. And then you can also see how much you'll be making, divide the amount you're paying for the cards and everything by how much you'll be making per day, and this will give you a amount of days it'll take to earn your money back. So this could be like 6 months, 8 months, 10 months, really depends. Okay, and I lied, there's actually 8 topics in this. So the 7th topic is the risk factor. Now none of this is financial advice, and you should use all this information at your own risk. Basically your Ethereum will no longer be profitable. It won't actually be mineable anymore, because right now in the proof of work model, which you're getting paid for providing the hash rate, but next year it's going to be called proof of stake, where basically you have to stake your Ethereum to be able to mine and validate these transactions. So in a nutshell, you won't be able to mine Ethereum anymore next year and make money off it. And we don't know whether or not other coins will be profitable, because all of the hash rate power on the Ethereum network will have to go somewhere. Basically, Ethereum mining is profitable right now, even though there are a lot of miners, because the price of the coin is so high. A set amount of crypto is given to all the miners, and if there are more of them, each miner receives a smaller amount. So if the price of the coin they're mining isn't very much, then that smaller amount that they're getting isn't even worth that much. So it won't be profitable anymore. So this is just something to be aware of, because if you get into Ethereum mining right now, it is pretty risky. So as of now, it's really profitable, and if you can make your money back quickly, then it's definitely worth it. I started mining Ethereum myself because I saw that my break-even point was only 8 to 9 months, and since I was able to find GPUs at a good price, I decided to go for it. I took the risk of getting into mining, think I can probably make my money back before Ethereum mining goes away, so it's really up to you whether or not you want to take that risk. There could also be another coin to mine after, or there might not be. You really don't know. And even if you don't make all your money back before proof of stake, say you make half your money back, you still have all those cards that you can sell, because I know people are always going to be looking for graphics cards to game with. And now the final thoughts. So overall, I think that mining is a really good side hustle, and it can even be a source of income. I know people spend like millions of dollars on a whole like farm in the middle of nowhere where electricity is really cheap and just mine there all day long, and they can make a lot of money from it. But there's definitely a lot of risks involved. But if you can get into it now and earn back the money that you spent, then it's basically just an easy way to earn crypto. My plan is to earn back all the money I've spent and then hold all my earnings so I can increase the value of them over time. But you can really do whatever you want with the crypto. But anyways, guys, that basically does it for this video. All the links to everything I've talked about will be in the description. Like I said, I just haven't made these videos myself, so I'll be just posting all the tutorials for all the topics I covered in the description for you guys to check out. So thank you for watching. Remember to like the video so more people can see this video, and don't forget to subscribe. See you in the next video.